All right, let's get right into it. We're standing on the edge of a world that's going to be filled with autonomous machines, drones, delivery bots, self-driving everything. But as these AIs go from just being tools on our screen to actual actors in our physical world, it raises this massive question. Who's setting the rules? Today, we're taking a look at Helixis, a company that's building the governance, the literal rule book for this autonomous future, and they're doing it before it's too late.
This quote really hits the nail on the head. This system we're talking about, the Autonomous Trust Infrastructure, or ATI, it's not something most of us feel like we need right now. It's kind of like cybersecurity back in the early 90s. Nobody really cared until something went catastrophically wrong. That's when it becomes absolutely essential.
And this question, it just perfectly frames their mission. I mean, think about it. Instead of waiting for a disaster, like a whole swarm of delivery drones blocking an ambulance, and then trying to figure out the rules, the idea here is to build that safety and trust framework before the crisis even happens. It's all about proactive design for a future that's honestly coming way faster than we think.
Okay, so let's talk about that future. Because while our world today doesn't really feel this urgent need for, citywide machine governance, there is a huge technological shift happening just around the corner.
And what's so wild here is just the sheer speed of this change. I mean, right now, AI is mostly on our screens, right? We supervise it. But in the next year and a half to 3 years, we're talking independent AI agents, delivery bots everywhere, drones sharing the sky. And by 2026, we're looking at a world where autonomy is just part of the furniture, running our supply chains, managing city infrastructure. That window to build the rules for that world, it's closing, and it's closing fast.
So here's the bottom line. Without a real system for identity, for permissions, for being able to audit what these things do, widespread autonomy just can't happen. It's that simple. It would be way too dangerous for the public, regulators would never approve it, and insurance companies? Forget about it. It'd be a complete non-starter. See, autonomy is pretty much inevitable, but public trust? That's not. And that's the gap that has to be filled.
Okay, so that was the big kind of abstract problem. Now let's bring it down to earth and make the solution really tangible. How in the world do you actually govern a machine? We're going to look at a super simple real-world example that shows how this whole system actually works.
So check this out. This is their PWRC proof of concept, and it uses something you see every single day, an e-scooter and a wireless charging pad. This one simple interaction, a scooter asking for a little bit of energy, becomes the perfect way to show the entire invisible process of governance in action. Let's break down what's happening here in just milliseconds. First, the scooter rolls up. It has its own unique digital passport. Now the pad doesn't just start charging. No way. It pings the system and asks for permission. The system instantly checks everything. Is the scooter legit? Is it allowed to charge here, right now? What do the city rules say? And then, boom, a decision comes back. Allow, deny, or maybe flag for review. And here's the most important part. The whole thing gets logged on a secure, unchangeable record, an immutable ledger. Think of it like a permanent digital logbook that can be used for audits and, of course, for insurance. And this right here, this is the whole game. Access to a resource, in this case, energy, isn't just about having an ID or some money. It's only granted after a complete verification of trust, policy, and consent. That right there is the bedrock of a governable world. Okay, so let's zoom back out. Now that we've seen how this autonomous trust infrastructure, this ATI, works on a tiny scale, let's look at where it fits in the big picture. This isn't about competing with anybody. It's about providing the one missing layer that pretty much everyone else is going to need. This table just lays it out perfectly. You've got big tech building the AI brains, but ATI provides the public trust. Governments are writing the rules, but ATI is what actually enforces those rules at the machine level. Robotics companies build the physical body, but ATI provides the governance for how it behaves in society. And all those smart city dashboards that show you data, ATI is what governs the real-world actions behind that data. It's the glue, the missing piece for everyone else. So if you're trying to wrap your head around this, think of it like this. ATI is like the air traffic control system, but for all machines, not just airplanes. It's the DMV that issues and verifies the identity of every machine. It's the FDIC, making sure the autonomous economy has integrity. And it's like OSHA, setting the safety rules for autonomous labor. All right, so this isn't just some high-level idea. It's a real, structured solution that's ready to be deployed. Let's shift from the what to the how and take a look inside the Governance Pack framework. You can really think of this as ATI in a box. It's a whole toolkit. You get a system for identity, that digital passport for every machine. You get a tool for policy that turns human language city rules into code that machines actually understand. There's a simulation sandbox so you can test all these rules in a digital version of your city before they go live. Super important. There's a consent module to make sure the community has a voice and humans have an override switch. And finally, the audit system, which gives you that unchangeable record that makes this whole thing insurable. Now, all this sounds great in theory, right? But does it actually work in the real world? Well, let's see how this vision is being grounded in reality, with active tests happening right now in some really diverse places.
And they've chosen these 5 pilots specifically to cover all the different challenges. In rural Floyd County, it's all about governing things like farm robots and environmental drones. On the Hampton University campus, it's about making sure students and bots can interact safely. The Atlanta University Center tests how you govern a space shared by lots of different groups. The City of Atlanta pilot is the big city-scale stress test. And then you have a place like Lake Nona, a high-tech district where you're governing really high-stakes things, like drones delivering medical supplies.
So let's bring it all home. We've talked about the tech, the framework, the real-world tests. But let's get back to the core question and why this all matters so much. This quote, this is it. This signals the huge shift we're all living through. You know, for all of human history, our tools have been passive. They did what we told them to do. But now, for the very first time, they're becoming autonomous actors in our world. And when you have new actors sharing our space, well, they need rules. They need accountability. They need a system of governance. At the end of the day, this isn't just about managing a few robots. This is about building the foundational, almost constitutional rules for the entire next era of technology. It's about making sure that as our tools become actors, our human values, our consent, and our sovereignty stay right at the heart of the system. And so we end on a question that really just captures this whole challenge. As machines start to perform labor, to earn value, to participate in our economy, who writes their rules? Who decides what's fair, what's safe, and what's just? Answering that question isn't just a tech problem. It's one of the absolute defining challenges of our time.